Good morning, all you fabulous people. Back again. Quick update. I didn't think I was going to make a video on this, and then I looked at TCG Player, and everything's kind of insane. We're just going to go into pre-release pricing at this point. These are all pre-orders of High Seas. I will start by saying this. High Seas seems very high demand. Allocation in the U.S. especially seems delayed. Nats is right on release weekend. Um, Everything's kind of crazy, as well as the print run seems to be the same size as Hunted, basically. Maybe a little bigger, maybe a little smaller. Hard to tell. With the demand being exponentially higher, which is crazy to say because Hunted was pretty hype all around. Um, Excuse me. Um, But I just wanted to go into some of these prices. I've got TCG Player, I've got Star City Games, I've got Fluke and Box up to just kind of go through some of these prices on these sites and just look at some of the prices that things are selling at. If they have a market price, that means they've sold at that, which is absolutely bonkers. To put it in perspective, these are all pre-release prices. Very few people have product in hand at this point that they're ripping for singles. Most of the U.S. allocation, or a good chunk of it, I wouldn't say most. I heard PhD one of the. Hold on, I'll mute my notifications. Um, PhD is one of the suppliers in the U.S. and seems to have delayed shipments in due to kind of international shipping and that kind of stuff is what the story we've been told. So that they're getting basically pre-release product and it will be available for pre-release product, but they're not getting the whole allocation like originally planned for High Seas at pre-release time. They could sell boxes and run more than one pre-release, that kind of stuff. Um, I haven't heard anything on the Gravy Armory decks, which is interesting. So I assume those are moving as planned. But so in that season is the release weekend. So with that being said, the best way to get cards is going to be going to pre-releases here in the U.S. I think going to pre-releases and asking your locals if they can borrow cards if you're going to Nats is going to be the best way for you to get cards. And there probably will be some at Nats to open. There'll be retailers that have their allocation, hopefully, knock on wood, at Nats to get a little bit more product into U.S. Nationals. Um, Additionally, the product from PhD, it sounds like it's just delayed for pre-release, so they're not getting it all, but they will get it. It sounds to me, or the information I've been given now, is that the full allocation will be there by release date or street date. Maybe a little delayed, but not super delayed. Uh, Disclaimer: if for pre-order pricing, unless you think this is a deal, which I don't think very many of these cards are at this pricing, do not order this unless you are going to Nationals. But even then, TCG Player, you're not going to get the cards for Nationals. These are pre-sale. They're not allowed to ship until Street Day. So you will get the cards after Nationals. So there's really no point in ordering these off of TCG Player unless you know the buyer and is able to, or the seller and are able to expedite shipping in some way. Star City Games, I think it's a little different. I think they have a pickup option, as well as MinMax. I think also has a pickup option for US Nats. So watch out for those, and if you need those cards, go through them directly, or any of the other vendors you know that are going to US Nats. Don't buy TCG Player. Don't buy Fluke and Box. Fluke and Box will have it will show up in weeks because he's international. He's in Australia. With that being said, we'll just kind of go into the prices of some of these cards. I think some of these are just absolutely bonkers, and some of the looking at some of these now, I think some of them are actually kind of fair. Um, but further to further nail home, do not buy pre-sale prices. The boxes, especially. Hold on. Dang it. Reset filters. Flesh and Blood. high seas, shop booster boxes. The booster boxes are going insane. Those I understand why they're going insane. Allocations are tight, everything's are going, but the singles, unless you need the cards for Nats, there's no reason. The Gambler's premium on this for treasure packs is definitely what's driving this, as well as the limited allocation, that kind of stuff. It's FOMOing the boxes. The boxes are $200 essentially at this point, which is insane. I don't recommend buying these at these prices unless you absolutely need them. I think the singles is going to be the way to go. $700 for a case is unheard of. But back to kind of quoting James and LSS, TCG Player for sealed boxes is like the minority of the minority of sales. See, there's only 5 listings total for boxes. There's thousands of stores across. Oh, not the U.S. Worldwide, we have 4K stores. I don't know how many are in the U.S., but there's a large number of stores in the U.S. and only 5 people are listing boxes. Just to put that in perspective. Go to your local game store. They will be the best way to get your product. Unless you don't have a local game store, then probably MinMax or Star City Games, or those guys would be the next thing. But even then, I think the singles are going to be the more economical choice. Treasure packs are pretty crazy. The average hit of a treasure pack is not going to be worth anything. They're going to be rares and commons. Most of them are targeted toward treasure islands, so it's kind of meh on there. There is some Majestics, there is some Legendaries, and then there's the Uber Chase cards that are in there. But so let's just get into this. The Fable at $250 for a rainbow foil is sold yesterday. Is, I think, quite high. I mean, just look. Star City had one for $200. It sold as well. Fluke Box has got one for $262. That seems pretty high. Don't get me wrong. I think this is the best or most playable Fable. It only comes in rainbow foil. We don't know pull rates yet. I kind of have a sneaking suspicion, and don't quote me on this, that since it's only rainbow foil, it's at a higher pull rate than previous Fables, but that's just kind of my hunch. I don't have anything to back that up. Polycracka Marvel Legendary from the Treasure Pack for $100. I think that was actually a pretty fair sale. That's pretty cool for that. High Seas, Conqueror of the High Seas, I think is going to be used in pretty much all of the pirates. It's not as good as Felling of the Ground. I think this card's a lot easier to dodge than like a Felling of the Ground or even Command of the Conqueror. Playing against it, it feels pretty easy to get around, in my opinion. Half the time, it's an 8 attack at me with Go Again, and I just don't care about the arsenal, or I don't have an arsenal that it really matters half the time when it plays. Now, I'm obviously playing on Talashar, and I'm not playing against experienced pro players, so that there's a caveat to that. I do think this is probably one of the better cards in the set, but $70 out the gate I think is a bit high. Where else do I go? The Ally Majestics, basically being specializations, I think are a bit high as well. Don't get me wrong, they're really cool. I think both of the Majestic ones here in the set are definitely really good. The Gravy Armory deck ones are also very good. I think the Gravy Army deck, if you're interested in Gravy Bones at all and you're not playing Nationals, buying it for $40 and getting your beak wet off of that it looks very solid. And then you can just upgrade over time, and you can buy when you get. This card, Puffin seems really strong. I played against a few Puffins, and she's kind of all gas, no brakes, and there's nothing really that you can do to slow her down that I've noticed. I think this card's going to be worth it. The Pirate block, I'm not sold on this. When this defends, you may turn a card in the graveyard face down. It's kind of gravy hate. It's 3 blue block. Then No quarter. Once again, I think it's a gravy specialization basically at this point. There's no other pirate necromancer. Dead Threads Rainbow Foil at 175 is insane. I think this card will be, the Rainbow Foil will be about 100, and the Cold Foil will be about 200. It'll probably settle around there. Um, I'm curious what the other people have it. 300 for the Cold Foil, and it hasn't, or they may or may not sold. Star City Games, I think, puts up their prices, and then there's 3 at 100, which I think is about where it'll sell. What I'm kind of price marking Dead Threads as is it's very similar to Blood Spattered Best. Blood Spattered Best was better in my opinion and had used in more heroes, but the demand is definitely higher. So 100 seems pretty fair there. 115 from Fluke. So I would hold off on that one. Return Fire. Shout out to Ted and Nate doing their majestic thing. I kind of agree with the reasoning. I still think this card's very good, but having kind of to balance how many pumps and arrows you have in your decks makes this card kind of a hard thing to slap in, but it is a 0 for 7 when you do get it off. But if you have a hand with no pumps, all of a sudden this card is rough, or your arsenal's filled, that kind of stuff. The amulets, most of them are pretty garbage. The diamond one is good. It's especially good in gravy, gaining an action point. I think the sapphire one is also very good wherever it is at. These treasure pack cards, they don't have any prices. I wish I could sort these that they don't have. Well, I guess I could take the out of stock. Surfing Shaking is going to be a great Valda card. It's going to be a couple bucks. Don't buy that at 20. Undercover Acquisition. What was this? It steals an item. This card's pretty good in Slippy and Mario. Watch out for that, but I don't think it's going to be $25. That's for darn sure. Bar Barrage. This card's crazy into Illusionist and probably Gravy. I think this is one of the better Ranger cards. Minus Touch, really good into Illusionist, really good into Kasai. Any of the ally creators that don't have any cost, it doesn't give them any gold, so it's just a 1 cost, go again, destroy ally, so really good there. Big Shot, Big Game Hunter, what's this one do? The Pump. I think this one's really good. I don't think it's $20, but it's Pirate Ranger, so it's specialization. So I think that's one of the better cards for Marlin. Herald of Sakim, I think once again is going to be a $5, $7 card. Don't buy it at 20. Cog Workshop, if you're interested in Puffin, I think this is probably like a $10 card. It's a blue block 3 and it turns on your engine. Arcane Compliance, I think is really good against Kano especially. Doing their shenanigans of AMP, and probably even Verdance. This will probably be a sideboard card. I don't know if 25 seems pretty fair for it, in my opinion. Sideboard card. Platinum Amulet is garbage. Don't buy it. Let's go to the Star City Games. Cold Foil Sarong, I think, is way too high, $225. I think that's probably a $100 card on release, even with all the hype. Loan Shark Extended Art Treasure Pack is $200. I think that's a bit high. Probably, I would guess 75 to 100, kind of like an EA Majestic in the past. Conqueror, probably like 125 would be my guess. Gold Baited Hook, Cold Foil, I think is honestly pretty fair. This card's pretty good. It's all good in all the pirates. 125 for pre-release, I think is okay. I think it'll probably, I don't know. I think it probably sticks around that. Codex of Frailty, I think, will go down. Probably the Rainbow Foil will end up around 80 and the non-foil around 60. Sunken Treasure, Cold Foil, these have been bought at like 50. I think I even saw Tyler at Righteous Gaming buying them at 50, but he looks to sell them. So Conqueror of the High Seas Rainbow Foil at 80 I think is a bit high. Give No Quarter. Oh, that's a sick extended art. I didn't know it came in extended art. But $80 I think is, this is a Pirate Necromancer. It's only used in gravy, so watch out for that. Sarong Rainbow Foil I think is probably $50 or under. Gold Baited Hook, once again $60 I think is pretty fair. This is going to be used in I think two of the three, if not all three. Tip the Barkeep, give a Gold Kiss Rum, you give a gold token to your trolls. I don't think you really want to give up your gold tokens, but this might be good. This probably is a gravy card to make your allies have go again. Polycranka, $50 for the Rainbow Foil. I think it probably goes down. I don't. I'm just not very high on Polycranka. He's pretty cool, but not very like busted in my opinion. The EA extended art Rainbow Foils at 50. I think for the what they are okay. I think the Aeronaut is probably the better one of those three. Uh, Bam Bam 25 is way too much. Blood on the Water. Uh, if Gravy's able to hold up, this card is insane and is a staple. I think a 3 of, but you have to have a go taller meta for this, which I think we're shifting into. So watch out for this card. The Arcane Compliance Rainbow Foil, $25 I think is pretty good. I might actually pick those up. Those are not bad. And they're generic in their expansion slots, so they might be a little rare. Return Fire, $25. Rainbow Foil is Preach Melody at $20 I think is way too high. Way too high. The Everbloom and the Consigned to Cosmos, both are just windmill slams into the respective decks. Claw of Vincerikai is garbage. It's a sideboard card at best, and I think Syndra is the only one that can run it. And she basically just, I think, just runs race cards and says, I don't really care about your Spell Void, but I think this is going to be a $2 card at most. Escalate Bloodshed is rough. I don't think it really is going to see that much play. Chart the High Seas, Rainbow Foil, free kill. This is really good in gravy. $20 for the Rainbow Foil seems actually pretty fair. High Seas sold out, or Sea Legs sold out at $20. Rainbow Foil, I think that's expected generic, and it's really good. Any of the non-Pirate Cat heroes don't care about being tapped, so Gold Kiss Rum really doesn't hurt them. What else we got here? Surface Shaking, too high. Deny, Redemption, too high. Barbed Barrage, honestly, at $18 if for Rainbow Foils, I think this is actually pretty fair. Minus Touch at $15. Star City Games got some pretty fair prices. Rainbow Foil for $16. I think this is probably a $10 card, so for being pre-release and only $6 more, I don't think that's terrible. What else we got here? Yeah, the Amulet, I'm surprised these are selling at $15. Oh, well, these are two of the better ones. Chum at $15 I think is a bit high. Gold the Tip at $12. This card's garbage. Moray is actually really solid. And here's all the trash amulets still selling at $10, which is insane. Arcane Compliance at $10. I think this is a pickup. I will probably, once I'm off this video, buy 3 of those. What else we got? Skywarden I think is good. I think it's kind of I think Nate and Ted on their market or Majestic video kind of nailed this one. I think it's going to be an include in the deck. I don't think it's amazing, but it makes the cut. And I think Cogworks Shop here at $6 is too cheap, probably. That's probably a steal. Undercover Acquisition at $7 I think is actually pretty fair as well. Burn Bear at $10 is probably too much, but the card's really good. On to Fluke. Last little bit. 115 is a bit high. Gold Baited Hook at 98 I think is high. Tropal is high. This one's definitely high. The Cogworth Tinker Rings. Codex, pretty fair. Sarong, high. Polycranka, high. Lone Shark, too high. Return Fire, too high. Aeronaut, too high. Chum, okay. Sunken Treasure, I think, is pretty fair there. Surface Shaking, too high. Midas Touch, okay. Sea Legs at $17. I think that's a pretty good pickup there. Cogs, I think this one's the Dovetail one. Go Again is really good. Everbloom at 16 is probably a bit much. Turn Up the High Seas is probably okay. Arcane Compliance is okay-ish, but we found him at 10 on Star City. Barkeep, the rest of these are kind of... Humperdinck at 12 I think is pretty fair for his popularity. Barrage is pretty good. Escalate 10 is too much. Deny 10 too much. Preach too much. Bam Bam sold out, which is interesting, at $10. I still think that's too high. I don't think Brute needed another destroy items, but they're kind of leaning into Sapphire and Sapphire Amulet, Moray are both very fair. I think those are good pickups at that price. Riddle with Regret, I think, is too high. I think it's very niche. It's only Mario and Slippy, basically. Ruby Amulet is basically another E-Pot. This is basically another health pot. Golden the Tip, $6, I think is pretty fair pre-release. Okay, so let's go back to TCG Player. Their Polycranka Rainbow Foil at $100 is way too expensive. We don't have any prices. Codex Frailty, $140, way too expensive. Burnt Bear, too expensive. Preach Melody, too expensive. King Shark Harpoon or King Kraken Harpoon, too expensive. Dovetail, probably a $15 card, it's too expensive. King Kraken Harpoon, $20, too expensive. Is this the Rainbow Foil or the Cold Foil? Rainbow Foil Sarong at $125, way too expensive. Gold Baited Hook, Rainbow Foil, $150, too expensive. Treasure Rainbow Foil, $40. That is in every gold pack, basically, or one of 3 gold packs. Way too expensive. What else we got here? Ruby Amulet, $27, way too expensive. Skywarden, too expensive. King Sharp Harpoon, too expensive. Once again, just to kind of close this video out, if you order from TCG Player, Fluke and Box, Star City Games, MinMax, whoever, unless they have a pickup option at Nats or an expedited shipping option that they can guarantee you to get the cards by Nats, do not order these pre-release prices. There will be more allocations. There will be more cards that come out to the thing. The boxes are going insane because of the insane demand, and the treasure packs are really pushing it. Gravy. We have 2 new classes in here. Don't get me wrong; they're cool. They seem strong, but unless you need these cards for Nats, these prices are absolutely insane. And you won't get these cards by Nats. So have a little patience. Save yourself some money. Unless you find a card that you think is going to go up in price upon release, do not buy these cards. And I think there's very few of these, if any, that are going to go up upon release. Yeah. Thank you guys. Have a fantastic day. Hope you guys get your good allocations. Hope your pre-releases go well. And enjoy the high seas.